Okay, welcome to our first level two BTC uh, holistic health session. Um, there's a few things I want to share, but obviously the goal is also once we start all collaborating together. The main purpose of this session is just to check in on your needs, what you need, what your body needs, what you need in your own personal space to continue performing, bringing your best stuff, bringing your best energy, and all of those things. I'm going to share a tool with you guys today, but what I'll do is I'll just give a bit of a background with regards to when I was doing implementing Reiki with physical like personal training with clients. When I was sort of doing readings prior to getting started and setting up the program, I noticed there was a common trend that we were like when we're working in the gym, the common trends where we're usually working on, if we're looking energetically in the fields, there's three main fields we're working on when we're in a fitness center working out or exercising or something. Um, and those three are the sacral, the solar plexus, and the heart. So the sacral meaning we're training, we're gathering our power, we're building strength, we're doing all the things to recharge our batteries. The solar plexus, we're building self-esteem, confidence, and expanding our energetic field. And the heart is it's all pointed and pushed, like not pushed, but it's all aligned with something we're excited about, right? So if you have an athlete or a hockey player or whatever, his desires in the heart space right now in this context, his desires to improve and perform his best in hockey. While we're doing that, we're building his power, building his confidence, and we're doing things and programming things in the gym that are gonna create that outcome or move towards that outcome. Um, these three things came up for me today. So in the context of our business and our lives and what we're working on, we have desires, and in order to help us align with those desires, we want to make sure our power is on point. We're recharging our batteries regularly, and we're expanding and growing. We talk a lot about expanding our capacity to receive or capacity to align with the next level CEO. And it's all pointed at this grand dream or this thing that we're excited about. So one thing to share with you all today, and I've done a number of these. We talked about it in one of our podcasts recently, the one on gamifying your business and life, is some sort of score sheet or a way to check in on how things are going. So I've had other ones, but I'm actually testing this one out right now, and I'm sharing it with you as a tool, as an exercise for this particular call. But I'm inviting you to take it, maybe try it, and then maybe customize it in a way that fits you. Okay. So there's 5 areas, and I'll just drop them in the chat. So maybe write these down. 5 areas that we are, looking to check in on in this particular exercise. Let's just play a game. Let's just have fun with it. Okay. So the way I'm using this tool is I'm scoring up with myself, like literally on the couch as the day's done, as I've done all my things. I'll score myself up daily in this particular criteria, and I'll explain what they are. You can get up to 3 points for each one. Okay, so the first one for me is recovery, which is 6 to 8 hours of quality sleep. If you need extra, maybe you're napping, you're closing your eyes for a second on the couch. You're getting some sort of intentional downtime, um, and you're just allowing yourself to sort of like self-regulate or bring yourself down. Sometimes it's transitions throughout the day. Are you just being aware of and 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 providing yourself optimal recovery? So th a 3 is like as close as you can be to perfection, or as close as you can be to doing what you intended to do to help your body recover the most. Okay. A two is kind of like, I'm almost there, but I'm not quite, I'm missing a few things here and there. I get the odd night where I sleep 4 hours or whatever. And a one is like, I definitely need to work on this. Right. Okay. So with regards to sleep and those particular criteria and standards that you're aiming at, scored up 1 to 3. Okay. The second one is movement. So this is your exercise. So the first one is more recovering the body. This one is more building and strengthening the body, moving the body. Okay. So it includes your base level mobility, walking, just moving, being active throughout the day. And then there's also anything that's going to move the needle forward on maybe your strength, your conditioning, your endurance, anything that kind of moves you to another level in your fitness. Um, you decide what is a three, a two, and a one. So just mark it. We're just marking it in a general sense, but I do this every day. Okay. Fueling, same thing. Definitely consider hydration here because I'm awful at hydrating if I'm not fully aware of it 100% of the time. Like I literally have this glass of water next to me right now, and I'm still, I got a lot of day left, but so 4 to 6 glasses a day, or whatever your required amount is for your demands, your body weight, all that. Are you hitting your water? Are you hydrating? Are you fueling uh, as far as consumption, are you consuming the right amount of calories to match your goals? So, like with my son, is he consuming enough calories um, in the middle of a tournament weekend to fulfill his goals? Or if it's a weight loss goal or something, are you fueling optimally from the consumption side to create a deficit, right? Also on the fueling side is are you fueling intentionally from a nutrition point of view? So I don't focus on nutrition in my work and what I do. I don't push any type of nutritional programming. Some may choose to be vegan, some may choose to be carnivores, whatever it is, whatever your intended goal is or your intended mission is with your fueling, are you actually doing it? Obviously, I would hope that you're not doing something that's hurting your body, but I've seen results, people get results through the whole spectrum of those things, right? It's not my concern which program you're doing, it's more whether or not you're following it. Okay. So, and that is producing a result that you're looking for. So, fueling one, two, or three, are you hitting your targets there based on what your intended goals are? The fourth one is your inner work. So, I call this in some cases meditation, journaling, connecting with your spiritual, whatever your spiritual faith is, your belief, your higher power, whatever your sources are. Do you feel like you're connected, or are you doing things every day, or that makes you feel connected um, to whatever it is that you subscribe to spiritually, right? Um, and your inner work is a big part of that as well. Spending time in nature, if we want to simplify it a little bit more, but just having some time to, it's similar to recovery, but more on the sort of spiritual space. Okay. Um, and then outer work. Your outer work moves into, so 1, 2, 3 on inner work. And your outer work is um, starting with maybe your immediate relationships, your family, your partner, kids, your family, your inner circle, but also expanding out to, um, for one, for me, I like on a weekly basis try to connect with a friend that I haven't been in touch with in a while, or we all have sort of our go-to buddies that we can just count on to just hit up for a small joke on a text or something. Like, are you connecting with people in the outer world? Meaningful connections with people that you like to exchange with, but also sometimes just getting out into the world too, right? Occasionally Jody and I just like get tired of being in this house all the time, working away, doing our thing. So we'll go and we'll actually just work at a coffee shop together. We're still together, we're still working, but we just moved out into the public space to just connect and interact with people, right? So, one, two, or three in those areas. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to kind of take a look at those things, score them up, and then add up your score.
Just one quick question to help everybody on the outer work one.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but you that can also include like networking and business stuff, like as long
Yeah, it includes it can include that. When I first created this, it was more on sort of like the personal wellness side, but definitely making connections outward for business can be included in that. And we were talking about earlier about having like a combined version of this, which is
yeah.
other ones I do. I'm just trying to focus on just the health side right now, but if you are getting out, hitting your DMs, making your connections, that does count. Okay. Um, so I'll share this legend here.
The other thing that we've talked about a little bit as we've been kind of testing this out
Mhm.
is just some of the overlap. Can you share a little bit about that and how things might count in two categories?
Yeah, like for example, Jody's been swimming lately, so that checks off movement and it could be inner work, right? What was another thing? There was a
Like out in nature also could be a couple, right? Could be inner, could be movement.
Yeah, you could be
Right? Like if
moving
that's where
outdoors,
you're
jogging through a trail could be
at.
also a combination of the two. So you can check some of these things off together, right? You could be going out for
Points,
an
double dipping points.
you can go for a nice like coffee or a dinner, like a nice healthy lunch with one of those friends that I was talking about earlier and have some outer work and fueling, right? So they don't have to be separated, right? The more you do this, the more you'll be able to be a bit more sort of objective, I think is the word, with your scoring. I don't want to impose a standard on you. I want you to choose what you believe is what you feel is right for you. Now, inside of this, there's when I look at the totals, I set it up for myself like a so the suboptimal zone is less than or equal to 9 points, right? The awareness zone is 10 to 11, 12 to 13 is optimization zone, 14 to 15 is performance zone. It took me almost a week to get into the performance zone for one day. So I set it up so it's tough. It's tough to hit these numbers if you're not aware, right? So even just awareness zone, I already started feeling better when I was hitting like 11, right? Um, and definitely if I hit a couple 12s and 13s, like two or three of those in a row, it makes a massive difference. Like you feel the energy. I feel like I ended up wanting to work out more, like any time of the day. I'm up for stuff. When I'm in front of my son's hockey team and I have to, lead them or whatever, I have tons of energy. So when all the pistons start firing and you're hitting like your 12, 13, 14, 15, like consecutive days in a row, you're gonna notice a difference. Um, so set it up so it's not impossible to hit these numbers, but it's a bit of a challenge. Like it's a bit of a stretch sometimes, right? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, just like reminding everybody that the one, twos, and threes are based on what you want them to be. So three for
Yeah.
one person might be going to the gym 5 days a week, and three for someone else might be getting in a walk 5 days a week. So it's like your version of what that is.
Yeah.
So that it makes sense for you, and it's something that is still stretchy for you to get to 13, 14, 15, but that it doesn't have to be the same as anybody else.
Yeah. And I when I mark myself off at the end of the day, I'm marking it from the viewpoint of 3.0 CEO. Am I meeting the standard? Am I aligning with that standard? Right. And it's self, I like for it to be, self-created, not based on something you read in a book, not based on even what I say, but you decide. You decide what your standard is that you're trying to hit, and whether or not what you're hitting when you're hitting your 12 plus, is it producing that feeling, that result? Are you seeing the changes, the shifts? I find if I'm in the optimization or performance zone, DMs is like nothing. It's a joke. I just get it done. Right. When I'm in a more suboptimal zone, I have to find the energy and the motivation to do the task sometimes. Okay. So this is just kind of a tool to use, and it's a great place to start. Um, and yeah, let's just open it up a little bit and see where you guys are at. What are you seeing so far based on your scores, as far as what's coming up?
Or even just like, what are your thoughts on using a tool like
Yeah.
this?
I love it. I think this is really good for me because I don't really, I don't know, just take the time to really kind of like gauge where I'm at,
Hmm.
loosey goosey all over the place. I might do it a little bit here, I might do a little bit there, or I like start off super gung ho and then I'm not consistent. And then I beat myself up for not being consistent. And then it's like this cycle back
Yeah.
and forth. Whereas I love this because it's tangible and it's something like manageable that we can kind of go back to, right?
Hmm.
Check in every week and be like, okay, or even every few days, right? Like I'm noticing right now that like yeah, I'm not getting outside enough. That like that needs to change. I need to hydrate more for sure. Because I'm not getting my 8 glasses a day. Um, and yeah, I mean, like, and then some areas I feel like, oh, okay, maybe I am okay with that stuff. Like, I feel like the inner work and the outer work, like connecting with people and the inner work seem to be kind of like, I feel like I'm in the zone for those areas, but then the fueling part, I need to be more consistent. And then the movement, definitely the movement outside is huge for me because I can do the strength training or whatever, but then I'm realizing, shit, I'm not getting out. I'm not walking.
Hmm.
And and being outdoors is what fuels me, but then I'm not making time for that every day. So it's like figuring out how I'm going to incorporate that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't happen on one day, it doesn't mean that's a horrible day.
Yeah.
It just reflects in the score, but also if you hit the other things, like it's bouncing around to just see
Yeah.
what is making a difference, right? Like I said, when I hit 12s, if I hit 12s consistently, I'm like in another level,
Yeah.
right? I don't even have to be 15, right? When I'm
Yeah.
hitting 12s consistently, I'm at another level. I'm not just sort of like walking around, just kind of like a zombie, kind
Yeah.
of just like impulsively making decisions on things, right? So, that's good. One of the things too for me in the outdoor work is even something as simple as, did I spend enough quality time with the dog? Right? Jody and I also noticed too. Maybe we've worked all day, but we haven't actually spent any time together. There's that, right? Or did I have a meaningful conversation with my son?
Mm.
Right? That sort of thing. So, um, yeah, what else? What's coming up for you guys? Shalina, Kia, Rochelle?
Yeah.
Can I just add something really quickly before you go,
Yeah.
Shalina? Sorry. I was going to say that when you guys are looking at this, it can also help to look at it by the week instead of by the day. I know for
Mhm.
me, I'm not good at you have to do this thing every single day.
Yeah.
I'm better at like walk 55,000 steps in this 7 day window. And some days are better than others, and some days are more than others, and stuff like that. And it just gives me a bit more like breathing room. So if that helps you guys, Maybe you can
Hmm.
look at it on a weekly, like do it every day, but look at the overall from a week.
That's actually a great point. I'll hand it over to you guys a bit more, but I made a note here, and there's something else I'm going to share. There's a difference between men and women with this stuff.
Okay, go ahead, Shalina.
Thanks. I really like it because you know what? Any tracking system is better than a zero tracking system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're committed to doing it, whether it's every day or once a week, I think it'll start to track and also notice the trends, right? So what
Hmm.
happens? Go back and say, okay, well, I keep missing this one. What's going on here? Look further into it, do some more digging. So for me, I think I would like to do this every day because if I do it once a week, I don't think that I'll
Hard to remember.
it's hard to
Oh,
remember, but
definitely
also,
do it every day.
Mhm.
pardon me?
Yeah.
Definitely do it every day. Just like when you're looking at the overall picture, like
Yeah,
look at it from a week. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So that focusing on the trends is what I want to see. Like, and then go
Yeah.
back, like, okay, why do I keep missing this? What's going on? Or, so that's going to give you some history. And also when you're tracking, it helps you when you're moving forward. Like, okay, it makes you feel good that you're hitting these marks. I'm doing well here, here, and here. This is the
Yeah.
only area where I need to make a little bit more of a change rather than beating myself up for not doing, anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to see my wins.
Yeah. I like the idea of like, if you're not like we do this with our numbers with our business, right? If we're not tracking, we're guessing,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And if we are not tracking and we have an idea or a story in our head that we're falling short, we could be beating ourselves up for no reason. We could actually be not that bad, but we're beating ourselves up because whatever story is going on in our head, or the other way around. We could be like, oh, I'm fine. Like I told you this morning, I had a great workout 5 days ago, and I'm still riding on the high of that workout. Thinking I'm
Exactly.
hitting my workouts, but like no, like I'm not hitting the standard frequency that I want. But when I hit
I'm
them, they're
sure
pretty
nobody in this
quality.
group, I'm sure nobody in this group is hard on themselves, right?
The quality of my workouts have been better, right? So that's one thing I'm happy about. But I'm circling back to the tracking just to make sure I'm aware of getting all the other things I need, right? Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I'll share.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, I feel like I'm always in the awareness zone when it
Hmm.
comes to these things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of times for me with recovery, my sleep is so sporadic.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm up 3 o'clock in the morning because
Yeah.
I can't sleep. Sometimes I sleep over, all night and I can get up and I feel like I can like work out and do different things like that. So that part for me is actually a blessing and a curse because I get a lot of work done laying in my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when I'm my most creative. That's when I'm like, talking, writing my notes and doing
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
those things just laying there in my bed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I go back to sleep like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and it kind of throws my day off a little bit. But I look at it like, oh, I got my work done early,
Yeah.
So that's the good part about that. But it does like affect if I work out or go for a walk or different things like that.
Mhm.
So I
This
just
is
kind
where
of
like
take that as it comes.
this
Hmm.
is where like when you look at it as the week,
Hmm.
you can kind of take that pressure off, right? Like, and it's also normal that in a day where you went to a networking event that took 3 hours, maybe you didn't get your workout in, right? Like something had
Hmm.
to give. But that's why I like to look at it during like for the whole week because then you can go, okay,
Yeah.
I was tired that day. Maybe you got an extra nap in that day. So your scores on your, your recovery is really good that day because you
Yeah.
had to take a nap and you did it because you
Yeah.
did it. And then on another day, maybe you're really high in your connections or you're really high in your inner work or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my connections over the last couple of weeks have been on the higher end where they used to be pretty low.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always looking for balance. And I'm at the point where I don't beat myself up if I don't feel like I get everything done. It's just after 44 years, I know myself, I know how my energy works.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I'm okay with it. it's as long as I am making strides, and that's what I kind of focus on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, Jody, looking at my weeks, am I making strides? Am I um moving? Am I further this week than I was last week? Did I do something different this week that I didn't do last week? And I'm kind of cool with that. But I do want to work on finding the time or just making a decision to work out. That has been my lifelong journey. I have not been able to accomplish it. And I'm like, that's my last thing that I feel like I have to figure out because my knees are going bad and my hips are suffering from it. Like, I've got to figure this part out. But other than that, I feel pretty good.
That's good. And yeah, just to share that point on the week to week is I think it was Alison Armstrong, she's a relationship coach, talks about the differences of men and women. And men actually function really well on a 24-hour cycle where we're just plugging away on the same repetitive activity 24 hours, just trying to stay accountable to it. Um, Women function more on a weekly and monthly. So when you start tracking the data, because I'm tracking my week to week as well, but when you're tracking the data, like track what happens over the course of 4 weeks, right? And you might decide that a standard you're trying to hit on I don't know if it's her that mentions it, but I've heard this in a lot of other people that speak in this space is like your cycles are like seasons, right? So if you're in the winter of your cycle, maybe awareness zone is is where it's at, right? Like, or maybe you up your recovery, right? When you're in the summer of your cycle, you might find it very easy to hit performance zone, right? You might be able to crush it in business. You might be able to take on more things. You might work out more. So, learning what those are within your 4 month cycle also will help you gather the data you need to perform at your best in the different phases. Yeah. Yes, Mel.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of that because I learned a lot from Dr. Mindy no, Dr. Mindy. I don't know. And I think it's Peltz. Anyway, she wrote Fast Like a Girl, so she's all about like the whole fasting movement, and I learned I think the most about my cycle through her than I did
Yeah.
all throughout high school health or whatever. I'm like, why am
Yeah.
I not learning this in school? And
Yeah.
yeah, she talks all about that and how I love how you mentioned that it's like corresponds to seasons because that makes a lot of sense to me because it's like
Hmm.
there's like the week before you're you're gonna have your period. It's like you don't want to be doing anything. Like that's like the winter, right? Like that's the
Hmm.
the week before the worst. So you don't want to be pushing yourself when you're in that stage. So yeah, I like this idea of applying it to like the weekly and the monthly.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's
That's
gonna
good.
be helpful.
Awesome. Rochelle.
Okay, so I I can improve in every area, but so I fall into the awareness zone. But in summer, I was more into the optimization zone because I feel like I moved way more, like went for walks every day and I did some strength training. Um, but I will say this, I am more intentional about what I'm eating and I hydrate a lot. And I used to be a snack bandit, but I don't snack half as much as I used to. So I'm really intentional now with what I eat and consume. And I sleep better. I know I told Jody I was having issues sleeping,
Yeah.
but I'm getting more rest. It could be better, but I am getting more rest, and I'm just being more intentional. But I do think that this really helps me because I can track it, and I have a visual of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. So I can be even more intentional now.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
good.
good. And it's something to think about too. I find too for me, I might hit my numbers a lot easier in July, right? The winter, I have to be really intentional about getting out. Like when we have Stella here, I'm likely to get out more, but she has these little dog protests when we go outside. I don't know how a 30-pound dog can just dig her paws in the ground and prevent me from moving her when she doesn't want to walk in the winter. Um, but I still need to get out sometimes, right? Because I found that once I'm out, it's whether it's winter or not, or it's cold, once I'm out, I'm actually good, right? So this is good. So if you're to sort of like have a high level view of kind of what you've learned or observed so far through your scores and the conversation we're having, um, if you're to pick one thing, because I tell people sometimes that even looking at this could be really overwhelming sometimes. So if you're to pick one thing to sort of build momentum, what is that one thing you think will just raise the bar? I've had a conversation with somebody one time, and he was talking about all the balls he had up in the air. And then after this 1 hour walk we had in this conversation, him sharing with me, I didn't say anything the whole time in the conversation. I was listening. And then at the very end, I said, it sounds like you need to prioritize sleep. And then he paused for a second. He goes, wow, how did you do that? Like everything, like I'm looking at what is the thing what's the highest yielding move he can make that is basically at his fingertips, right? It's not go get a gym membership. It's definitely not adding more to his schedule, his overly programmed schedule. It's like, how do we pull it back so when he does go into these crazy days, he's still reasonably optimized? And sleep for me, I felt was the thing, which I find with sleep in that particular situation too. If you sleep well, you wake up mentally clear. You need less coffee, so you're not going to dehydrate yourself as much. You make better choices when you're alert, when you're eating. Like when you're tired, the choices are shittier, right? You make better choices. You crave less. You're not craving sugar as much because you're not exhausted, right? And looking for a dopamine hit. So all the other things, it cascades into these other things just by him getting to bed even a half an hour earlier, right? Or 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 napping for 30 minutes during the day, right? So if you were to get a high level view of what you're seeing right now, what would be the highest yielding move you could make in the next, say, 3 days? Who wants to jump in when you have it? Trust, um, don't go into your head with this. Trust what's in here, what's in your heart, what are you feeling?
Sorry, Brian, can you repeat the question?
If you're to pick one move out of all the things that we could touch, right? What would be the highest yielding move you can make that would probably domino into the other ones?
Probably recovery.
Recovery. Yeah, Jody wrote fueling. Movement for Shalina. Yeah, for me, sometimes if I just move, I start fueling better, right? Movement for Kia. If I just move, I start fueling better. I realize I need to hydrate more. I actually want to sleep more because I want to recover and get gains, right? Um, and it changes from time to time. Sometimes for me, it's literally just hydration. If I hydrate right, my mind gets clear, my body feels more solid. I feel like I'm more alert and it just allows space and room for me to do all the other things. And I usually say that, if you focus on that, if it's overwhelming, just focus on the one thing for 3 days. And you'll start, when I talked about the energy systems before, you start to gather your power to begin the process of expanding and moving towards your desires, right? So, um, okay, that's good. So these are some of your take homes. What else? Any other questions? Anything else coming up in particular in this space?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So for me, my thing is going by the water every day, right? And doing my movement practice out there. But
Yes.
in colder weather, it's like I don't know. I don't know how to get around that. I don't have a studio anymore, so I don't have space here. Um, I don't know. I mean, there is the gym where they have the yoga room that's sometimes empty. Sometimes it's locked, sometimes it's not locked. I guess I could just go in there, but
Yeah. Even is there like a 10 by 10 space somewhere in your house, 8 by 8?
yeah, if nobody's home in the living room, but like,
Not ideal.
yeah, not ideal. But
Sometimes that's how it is, though.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a winter version and a summer version of what it looks like. I found that when the summer came, Jody and I weren't working out in the basement as much anymore. We were
Yeah.
swimming more. We were outside more, right? Now I'm feeling more inclined to go down there, right? And just hunker down and get to work. Um,
Is there
so
somewhere nearby you can go show? Like, is there a community center? Like where we're going, it's like $3 to go swimming there. It's super cheap. Like, is there a community center you can go to?
There is a community center, but what room would I be in? You know what I mean? Like where would
Um, I don't know, but worth maybe like checking out if they have like an open gym that no one's using or open studio,
okay.
something to maybe look at.
yeah,
If not, like trying to create the best space you can in the house. Maybe it's in your bedroom even somewhere.
It's kind of packed in here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the challenges in the cold
yeah.
weather, but finding somewhere where you can go, or maybe it's switching activities. Like maybe instead of dancing, you're doing something else that you like.
Yeah,
This
I'll have to give
this
some
yeah, this is what we discover in the awareness zone, right? We become aware of like, wow, I actually do need that year round or whatever it is. And it's like, how do I find that in the winter months? How do I find that in the summer or whatever, right? So um that's part of what I think when I do these, I do cycles of tracking my stuff is like checking in on what problems do I need to solve here to continue raising the bar, moving forward, moving the needle, right? Um, One of the things as well too is as this gets clear for you guys what the next move is, if you're to ask your higher self, the all-knowing version of you that knows all the answers, like what is the move, say in the next week? What we could do is even just share in the chat. This is one thing that really changed the game for me when I was with the men's group in early COVID times when we were doing a tracking system, was we were posting our numbers in the chat, right? Or we'd post our workouts, right? And it became this thing where everyone was cheering each other on, right? Or if someone was falling short or missing out on their workouts or whatever, everyone just got in the problem solving mode, right? Or just the accountability of reporting back and sharing and contributing would help that person, problem solve to get the numbers back on the board and get back in the game, right? So like I said too, like Tom used to ask us, like this is not what we're gonna necessarily do in our group, but in Tom's at the beginning stages of Tom's group, he was like we got on and he had a leaderboard on the screen and he had our scale weights that we just sent in to him an hour ago. And after a while, he knew by just looking at our scale weight that we were neglecting certain things. And he knows that, Brian, I know when you're at a certain phase in your health, in your staying accountable to your targets, you just perform better in business, right? He just knows. After a while, he started to study us and know when our numbers are a certain way, he knows exactly what's going on. If someone's weight jumps up like 5, 6 pounds in a week, he's like, dude, what happened? Right. Well, it was somebody's birthday last night. I had a couple drinks and we ate pizza. Okay, you blowed it up. Okay, we got it. Right. So just being very, very sort of just objective about it, like unemotional about it, right? Not letting the story get a hold of us, right? So
Right.
that's where the idea of the 10-day reboot came up. And I talked about this, I think, in that podcast as well, where I just found I found I was just getting addicted to caffeine. And I just decided I'd start with 3 days and then 14 days and then 40 days and then just see what started to actually happen. I started to sleep better, started to eat better, started to hydrate better just by not getting addicted to my afternoon coffee, right? So that self-awareness causes us to make a move that can just create a landslide of results in all these other spaces. So yeah, go ahead.
I think the first thing for everybody, whatever your one thing that you want to focus on is just deciding what that next step is. Like if you need more movement, what does that look like? Is that 10 minutes a day outside? Is it, you know, 3 times at the gym going swimming? Like whatever that is. And then I think just deciding where you're going to go, because if you don't have a studio and you don't have all the space, like let's pick a spot in your house that you can just make the best of and start doing it because you love to dance. And even if you can get 10 or 15 minutes in, even if the spot's not ideal, like I think that'll still help you feel better and move yourself forward, right? And then my other quick question that I'm going to go back to Kia is how many of you guys would like for us to actually run like a 10-day reboot sort of challenge situation where we would post inside the group your progress and share your numbers and all that stuff? How many of you guys would be into that? Yeah?
I love everything y'all do. I'm down.
Okay, so that's something for us to think. We've been thinking about it, but we wanted to kind of get an idea of how many people might be interested in doing that. But if you guys are, then we can talk about when we can do that.
Yeah, we'll pick a date and we'll get it all tuned up and ready to go. And it's a lot of fun. It's not intended to make you feel awful if you miss something or whatever. Like everyone's supporting each other. It's a lot of fun, builds a lot of momentum. And quite often we end up finding ways to do things that we would never have found before. So,
Yeah. Cool. Okay, awesome.
all right, that's it. I'm gonna actually send you guys I'm gonna prepare the 10-day reboot. I have like version 1 when I first started, and now there's a version 3.0. So we'll pick a date and we will lay out sort of like how the game will be played, and then we'll fire it off to you guys and we'll get it going.